Hey everyone, hope you're having a great Friday evening. This is RFG, just chiming in again for a second. This isn't a full episode or anything like that. We just wanted to briefly give our initial thoughts to Black Panther, especially since we know, the weekend's coming. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm pretty sure now's the time you're going to find that time to go. Um, with me, as usual, I have, one of my right hands in this. You want to go ahead and take away, Sai?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name's Sai, and like Chuck said, we're just here to briefly go over Black Panther. It was a big event this weekend. These past couple of weeks, actually, it's been a big deal for not just the Black community, but comic book fans. Like this has been on their radar since Civil War when he popped up. So
Definitely.
it's great to finally get a solo film out of him. I think this is by far one of the best casting choices that Marvel has done, period, with any of their movies. Um, Me personally, it, I'd have to. It was almost a perfect movie. Um, I think for me, there were still some of the Marvel issues with how they worked the villain, but at the same time, Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job playing that role. Um, you feel for him. You understand why he's upset. You understand his pain, and between Michael B. Jordan and the director, they made it such an easy connection to feel for the villain, which you don't always get in a lot of movies, especially in these types of films, because by the end of the movie, he's gonna be dead. You're probably never gonna see him again. So you,
Spoiler alert.
I mean, we all kind of knew that one was coming though. Um, just again with how Marvel works their villains, Loki is
Especially in the first go round.
yeah, Loki's like the only one that hasn't kicked rocks. So, it was a great film. I love the fact that they took the time to study African culture to give as close to a real experience as they could. They didn't really take any shortcuts with that. Um, but yeah, I'd have to say it was fantastic. Um, Chuck. Besides, besides your opinion on it, I am kind of curious to hear who was your favorite actor or actress in the film.
Gotcha. Okay. Before I get into that, I just want to say, so if anybody, I can't say like we have a regular audience or anything like that, but I just want to touch on we don't have Chad with us today. Basically, like we said before, we're three different people living in three separate places. Chad's, away in Bosnia, as he said. So we haven't been able to, like, sometimes it's going to come up where we're not all going to be able to see things at the same time and everything and be able to come together. So that's the case for this quick, just like give our thoughts kind of video. But Chad is, I believe, in the theater right now and will be a part of, the general team and panel and everything to give an in-depth review and analysis that will be coming at you guys, I believe, Sunday. So look for that. So wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. But now for my thoughts. So I'll go ahead and answer your question first. Was it who was I most impressed with?
Yeah.
Like the performance? Okay. Performance or just like the character in general?
I'll go performance on this one.
Okay, so it's still hard. But I think I'll say it with just plain performance. Whew.
It is a hard one.
I thought I had it. Okay. All right, then I just got a sudden thought that changes my whole thing. So I guess if just pure performance, I'd probably actually have to say, even though it wasn't a big role, Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw. He was just very dynamic and
yeah,
charming kind of in his own right, even though he's like a terrible person. But he was very, very entertaining for the time he was in there. And his arc just all the way through was like had me on the edge of my seat. So I'd say just and I don't mean to like belittle anybody else's performance or anything, but just he was just such like a small-ish but like still like dynamic part for what he was in.
Yeah,
that like he really just jumped out.
Yeah, not gonna lie, even though he may have been in the movie for maybe like 20 minutes, if that. I do feel like if they were to take him completely out of it, it wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah, I would agree. It just it was just one of those performances where he just killed it for the amount of time it was there, and it led to be a pretty memorable one.
Yep.
But now, outside of that, so man, I really can't say enough about anybody. I feel like everybody nailed it from each respective part.
Absolutely.
I don't really have any qualms about this movie. But like, I guess the character that I felt myself most engaged with and wanting the most from ended up being Killmonger. Like, as you guys will see, I guess especially, this was a movie where like it's hard to kind of separate any sort of bias or everything. It's a movie for everyone, but it definitely speaks specifically more to Black people. Like we're just gonna get a little bit more out of it, more likely than not. And with that, while obviously it was getting taken to an extreme level and not making good decisions, whatever, this is like one of the most, at the same time, sympathetic villains. Like you can, between what happened to him personally and what's in conjunction with his personal things or past, and just kind of honestly the history of us all.
Yeah,
you feel for him, like you said. Like you can't really knock him for getting to the point that he gets, where it's as away from like or separated from morality as it is. But and it was performed really well. There's a line towards the end of the film that he gives in a scene with T'Challa or Chadwick Boseman that like I thought was wow, that is pretty deep for a superhero movie. That I was really impressed with. I'll probably get into that a little bit more in the in-depth one because I don't want to give away too many tidbits on technically the first day of release. But I was super impressed with basically everything. I would say I guess the only thing that was a little just slightly let down was, and it's kind of symptomatic to most of the Marvel movies for me, I don't feel like the action in specific, like fight and stunt choreography, well, more specifically fight choreography, it's generally just not all that dynamic for me personally. I'd say with the exception of the Russo brothers directed Captain America movies, otherwise I just feel like just the hand-to-hand combat, to me personally, just a little bit lacking.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been across the board, and this was another one of those situations. But everything else is just so just nailed and just done so well that it doesn't matter to me at all. Like I was expecting to be impressed by the direction because I'm a big fan of Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. And
he's 3 for 3.
Fantastic job
at all. It's not even touching rim. It's just swish all the way. Then Michael B. Jordan, the rest of the cast. I'm a big fan of Michael B. Jordan personally. So yeah, the direction, the acting, the dialogue, the story. I expected to be impressed with all of it, but what I didn't expect to be the most impressed with was just how far they leaned into the social commentary, specifically, kind of delving into the idea of Wakanda and what that means in terms of both its actions and inactions over the course of history. So much so to the point that like I felt myself like almost at the edge of my seat, just like wanting just more of that conversation, more of that dialogue, more of that,
Yeah.
like, to the point where I almost wish, like, as much as I loved that we got this movie, I, at the same time, almost wish it could have been like a Netflix series where those themes could be just, like,
Pushed a little
stretched out
further,
over
yeah.
hours and hours. But that's just another, like, argument towards how great it was,
Yeah.
and that, like, it pulled me in with that so well. But so yeah, that's my initial thoughts without getting too in depth and into spoilers and everything like that. I'm looking forward to covering to that full extent. Sai, did you want to give it an initial score?
Oh, sure. Are we doing out of 5 or are we doing out of 10?
I was gonna go out of 5, but now I think about it, Chad says he likes to do 10.
Okay, we can do 10.
Okay.
I mean, it is kind of hard to really give it a rating, especially because, again, us as African Americans, it does mean a little bit more than your average viewer. So, I do want to make it very clear for people that, my rating is a little bit weighted because it spoke to me in a way that it may not speak to everybody else.
And that's something we can't really escape. That's just a bias that's going to be a part of it. Like, this is, again, like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
I just had a thought, though. Like, one of the things I was thinking, I feel almost jealous of, like the young kids of the current generation that get to grow up always having this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that'll never go away or anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, because I could just remember, like, the times being young where you want to, be a superhero and everything, playing with your friends, and then, nobody looks like you. Or at least we didn't know about them, because it wasn't covered. So it's just, this is stuff we can get into in depth.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's amazing how much, how much is it doing for the community, how much we're embracing it, and how much of a just truly an event it's starting to become. And I'm sorry for
you're
you out, my bad.
You're good. I do also want to say to people that sorry everybody, my nurse just came in the room. It is time for meds, so if you hear in the background, it's all okay. But I do want to I know a lot of people were concerned, especially when we heard that it was going to take on the how Wakanda kind of helps or hurts the Black community all around the world. And I know a lot of people thought that maybe it might take itself just a little bit too serious. But to be honest, it was the perfect amount of seriousness in that subject, but also it's still a superhero movie. There are still things that are done that obviously aren't going to be done in the real world, but it does give you just the perfect amount of reality to make you say, okay, this stuff is legit happening, and it makes you think about it just the right amount, but it doesn't take the enjoyment of the movie away either.
I agree 100%. Like,
so
it's perfectly balanced with it.
It's
just subtle enough without, like, getting heavy-handed or just spending too much time on it when they have the whole task of introducing this whole world to us.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I agree 100% with you.
Now, again, sorry we kind of got off track with that, but as far as the rating's concerned, I would probably have to give it about a 9 out of 10. And again, the only reason I probably didn't give it a 10 out of 10 is because of the connection that you get with Killmonger, and to know that he may or may not come back, for me, just a little bit hurts it because I want to see more of him. And again, it's just one of those things that we have with Marvel films where, unfortunately, we don't really get good villains for a very long time.
Gotcha. I would say I'm sharing the same score with you. I'm not a person, as I think about that, I'm pretty stingy with tens. Like, I don't want to, I try not to give them out too often at all. And it goes even more so with, like, the superhero genre. It just has to really do something special for me.
Right.
And so yeah. That being said, I'm gonna stick with this one as like a 9.
Yeah.
Because I really, like I said, I think the only thing I felt lacking was I didn't feel like there was anything super original or dynamic with the way they shot the action don't get me wrong, great sequences,
Mm-hmm.
but there just wasn't anything too dynamic. And interestingly enough, and we'll speak on this later, that the titular hero or the antagonist, I don't think either of them had the best action sequence. I think that goes to I can't remember the name of the actress, but the woman that plays Okoye, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, in that chase scene.
Oh yeah.
Towards the end of it.
That was good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
That was really good.
That was her whole role through the casino fight to the chase scene.
Yeah,
that's probably the best action. In it. But yeah, for that reason, before we get into any more specifics, I'd say 9. A 9 is the grade I give it for now. I was telling Sai earlier, I think what I'm going to be doing. Chad and Sai might not do this necessarily, but I'm a person like, I always have a strong first impression from a movie. I always want to round it out with a second viewing and everything like that. So what I will be doing more likely than not from here on out is when I do a review, I'm going to give a score from my first viewing and then a score from my second and average those together and to get my final one. So it's a 9 for right now. So and I honestly I don't see it going down. So
yeah, I'll probably have to do that too. And yeah, it is a 9 for now. I don't see it changing. That's just how.
I don't see it going down.
Yeah,
for sure.
I did want to say, as far as the fighting is concerned, without really giving away too much specifics, the 30, I say about 15 to 30 second fight that T'Challa and Killmonger actually have towards the end, I think it's when they're falling. That was a great scene, and it, like you see it, and it kind of makes you like, okay, I wish I had a little bit more of this throughout the movie, because that fight scene looked incredible.
I agree.
It was just amazing, and then definitely, before we go here real quick, I just want to recommend to everybody, whether you're black, white, Asian, Latino, go see this movie. Like, it is great. I think we all had our skepticism about it. And, it really hit a high point when DC fans decided that they were going to, go to Rotten Tomato and give it bad scores just because, and then how that trickled into, how racist our country is. That, DC fans, DC fans were doing something to protect their interest in comics. They have a preference. Not that I agree with what they did, but then you turn that into people in the alt-right or just racist people piggybacked off that strictly because it's a mostly black cast. And then for also people that always want to say that Black Panther doesn't have a diverse cast, it's like, you do realize that all black people aren't from the same place. Like, all the actors in this movie, like, sure, a couple of them were from the States, but they had people from all different walks of life, all different countries. That's not the same as, other films that kind of take away from the minorities that they could put in it. Because people are from all over the place, whether no matter your nationality, you can be from anywhere. So that doesn't mean that it didn't have a diverse casting.
And I would say on that, I better not ever have anybody come to me with that diverse argument, because I would say like, are you
serious?
This is like a microcosm in the whole history of cinema. Which leans one way.
Right.
So let's come on now.
It's
if we're talking about diversity.
And it's like, all right, so you'll acknowledge that this cast isn't diverse, but what about all the other movies that weren't diverse that you didn't say anything about, or you told people to shut up?
Or the movies where in the source material there is the diversity there, but when it comes out,
what happens? So, people need to get their heads out their asses. It's a new age, people deserve a spotlight. Like you mentioned earlier, I feel like kids deserve to grow up in a world where they see people that look like them doing extraordinary things. You shouldn't take that away from kids. Everybody needs that to feel like they can do anything. So
And then, sorry, just to add on that, and then that the people that made it too,
yeah,
I like them. So it's a pretty beautiful thing.
so I think that's it for us today. I will admit I can't wait for Sunday to go a little bit more in detail because, we didn't want to give too many spoilers away. But again, this is a fantastic movie, and it's going to be exciting talking to you and chat about that.
For sure. Hopefully we didn't give anything away.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
We were vague enough, but if you felt spoiled, then
we will go ahead and we'll go ahead when we post it. I'll make sure to put in there possible spoilers.
Light
spoilers. Yeah.
Possibly,
just so nobody gets upset. But when you guys see it, I would love for you guys to interact with us. Come on the Facebook page, or you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Ramblers _ group. Yeah, sorry. Again, we're kind of new, trying to remember all the names. But yeah, when you see it, go ahead, interact with us. Tell us how you feel about it. We'd love to have a discussion with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to having that interaction. So, and that's what makes it all that much better.
Yeah.
And again, we're only 3 people, so we can only cover so many things. We only have so much knowledge of stuff. You comment with what you thought about this, and then you guys talk about this. We'd love to do it. We'd
absolutely
love to have that level of interaction. So feel free to go ahead and reach out to us, whether it's on our Facebook page, or Twitter, Instagram, or our personal ones.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Charles Edward Roman numeral 2. I can't remember what I am on Instagram.
You are Charles.Edward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My back.
And then for me, my personal page on Twitter or Instagram, both, it's going to be CY_Anide, so cyanide. Definitely go ahead and give us a follow, and we'll definitely interact with you guys. But for today, we're all set and ready to go, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Go see that movie. Let us know what you thought.